Coming up on today's show.
Hey. We've got a little bit of information about a net that's over our heads. A little information on SpaceX today. Stay tuned for that. We've got some new information. That ought to be exciting.
Internet from space.
Yes. We need that. We do need that.
Is that like pigs in space?
Yeah, pigs on the wing, man.
How about Jack Black as Thor?
I think that's awesome.
Is it inappropriate to say Jack Black as Fat Thor from the last movie?
No, not at all. He's obviously all good with it, and we'll get into some of that.
We have info on that,
right?
And
we're going to talk a little bit about the new news coming out about Nissan. A lot of stuff happening around Nissan. We want to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Z and a couple of other Nissan Next features that have just come about, and we're excited for those guys. What else we got? And the main topic of the day. Look, I'm getting good at this, man. You think I'd never done this before, right? Okay. Now, we're going to talk.
I'll give you till next week.
Okay. Now we've got a little topic today we want to talk about.
To have it right. I'll give you till next week to have it perfect. Okay.
Right. We're going to be talking a little bit about some new technology that's out there. I don't know how new it is, but it was a personal experience of mine. I had a great service advisor. Just a whole
on your car.
On my car. Yeah, it was
not
just
like
a
good
medical experience.
Yeah, okay.
No, it was a great experience, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of that technology that's out there for some of these dealerships and how you'd be a fool not to use it. So
it's pretty fascinating. When I saw it, I was blown away. So I cannot wait to.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right. Right after this.
Everybody, welcome into the podcast. Welcome to the Counter Show. I am Jay, and my other co-host over there, Keith, is in the house. How's it going, Keith?
What are you looking at, butthead?
Wait a minute. He said,
yeah, they're back.
Butthead.
We saw, how could you miss the Beavis and Butthead ads all over the Super Bowl. So yeah. Hey, everybody. Hey, by the way, that music you just heard is courtesy of Ray Salon. And you can find out more about them and their music by either going on Google and Googling Ray Salon, RHASALON, or go on to our website. Sorry, I can't talk. PartsCounterGuru.com/Ray Salon. RHASALON.
That's it, man. Yeah, you got it. That's great, and we really appreciate those guys.
As it occurred to me, Jay, because I always, when I listen to stuff, you probably do this too. Every time you listen to it, you hear something different, kind of thing, like stuff you like.
Right.
And that intro, the thing that I love a lot about it, but the drum work on it's pretty great.
They're a great band. Marquinos is a great drummer. And that's not his only project. He's like in two or three other bands.
I'm aware of that. Man. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, what he's doing there is there's a lot of footwork involved in what he's doing. Anyway,
there is. And you know what? We've watched him play live because they'll do from time to time. You should like them on Facebook and then subscribe to their channel because they will do a live show like once every 2 or 3 months, and it's an hour worth of great rock and roll, man, and it's free, man. So check Ray Salon out. And Adamir, man, the bass player, he's in another little project called Event Horizon, and they're even heavier than Ray Salon, man. I think chunky, like almost
the quiet ones you got to watch out for, man.
Yeah. He's a good guy. They're all great guys. So yes, thanks Ray Salon. So go check those guys out. So I'm not going to dip deep into the Super Bowl ads, but I did want to make one of mention because it's to our advantage to discuss this because, Jeep, Chrysler, Stellantis, whatever you want to call them these days, they're now Stellantis. You can't push those guys away. I mean, you can't. You got to give them props, man. I mean, they went all out with that Jeep ad. They even got a little political on it, and I'll recite that to you guys. And this is right from Jeep. Jeep reminds us that we are stronger than obstacles in our way and invites us to remember all the ways we are connected as Americans. A timeless CJ5 takes us on a journey to the U.S. Center Chapel in Kansas in search of common ground.
Been there.
Yeah, so
what's fascinating to me about that place, and I'll let you get back to what you were trying to say.
Yeah,
this is a really historic chapel in Kansas,
in
the middle of Tornado Alley, and it has, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves, fantastic stained glass work, and
survived
very
all
very
these
old
years.
and right.
Has never been hit.
But yes, but I digress. I just needed to contribute there.
No, that's really cool. Good piece of information for everybody, just in case you were just watching the commercial and didn't really get. I
actually missed it somehow.
So, well, I mean, you think about it. That's representative of us and the resilience of our country. Period. I think that this thing is in the middle of one of the most dangerous weather places on Earth, and it's still standing with all this beautiful stained glass. So, good point to bring that up. But my point is that here Jeep is, man, and they've merged again. I mean, Chrysler, Fiat has merged with PSA, and they formed Stellantis. They're cramming Hellcats, man, and minivans, and Bruce Springsteen in a Jeep in the middle of the Super Bowl, man, and it's fantastic. While GM is over here freaking making hair dryers. What is up with that? Have they turned into the Maytag of the big three now? Is that what they are? GM?
I mean, to an extent, it makes me wonder. It's sort of like when you're backed into a corner and you're throwing the Hail Mary. It's like, well, what have we got to lose? So, okay, so like, I mean, I don't know that the Chrysler line is really doing that well. The Jeep line has done very well.
Yeah.
But they don't have. It's not like Ford where they're coming out with a new, bringing back the Bronco, or GM even where the Hummer EV is coming back. Jeep is Jeep. I mean, yeah, they've got some different body styles on their platform now, but they're sort of like the underdog, just going, what have we got to lose? Let's just go all in. And everybody else is kind of sitting around arguing over fuel mileage and MPG, and Jeep's
batteries
out here like,
where are we going to plug these things in? That's the big topic of discussion. And you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, you got to give them credit, man. And I got to tell you, all of you Jeep fans, loyal fans out there, man, I got to give hats off to you guys, because any chatter about Jeep, Stellantis, whatever. I mean, Keith and I have been talking about these guys for months. It just seems like, but you guys are like on board, and honestly, the most comments that we have gotten on any of our videos comes from you Jeep fans, man. So
it maybe is like being a Seattle Mariners fan. I mean, it's like you just keep showing up and you keep hoping, and one year it's going to be your year, and it's kind of looking like this might be Jeep's year.
Yeah. Or a Cleveland Brown fan.
Yeah. Or that, right?
Ooh.
So, how about this? We will put a link to the video, which is their commercial that we were talking about here with the boss.
Pretty cool, man.
On our website, go to partscounterguru.com, and there is a tab at the top. It's called Mentioned on the Podcast. If you click on that, we'll put an episode link here. They're done by episode. This one's going to be titled something with the word karma in it, I think. So,
I hope so.
Yeah, you'll find it. It'll be in the mid-'80s.
Right on.
Episode number.
Episode mid-'80s. Yeah,
yep.
There you go. Hey, yeah. Ooh, we're going to be celebrating something big in the summer.
We got a 100th episode coming up this year. That's right.
So where are we going next, Keith?
All right, so I want to talk about this this Jack Black thing because this is this was the highlight of my day, the day that I found it. Now, here's the deal, okay?
I don't know. He was worthy of carrying that. What do you call those things? Mjolnir?
It's Mjolnir, the hammer.
Yeah,
you know it as Thor's hammer, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So Jack Black, like, he reminds me of that friend I had in 6th grade who there was just no boundaries or filters. Like, they would just do whatever, sometimes on a dare. Mm-hmm. And we know he can sing. And if you haven't checked out Tenacious D, I thoroughly enjoy some Tenacious D.
I do too, man.
Jack's band, right?
And I'm telling you right now, if you listen to some Tenacious D,
yep.
You might hear a little Ronnie James Dio in there. Just saying.
Yeah. So
he did. He showed up on that one album.
Dave Grohl was in the movie that they did as the Centaur, right? Like, yeah. I mean, it's
Jack Black is amazing.
So this is I believe this was posted on Twitter, so maybe we can tweet the link to this.
Yeah.
Under Jack Black's official blue checkmark Twitter account, New God of Thunder, and then he's running around in this banana ham. He's got a red cape on, okay?
Yeah, he does.
And he's not much else. Got some looks like little Speedo kind of underoos things.
He's in his European his European bathing suit is what I like to call it.
He's getting rowdy, man. I mean, at one point he's riding a tricycle and singing and so
and you got Led Zeppelin Hammer the Gods going in. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know if I play this if we get copyright, but yeah.
Hey, I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I'm sure he and Jimmy Page are friends. He's probably talked to Mr. Plant and Mr. Page and said, "Hey, can we run this thing?"
I mean, it is quite entertaining, and apparently, did you see the clip where he's got this? I don't understand. It looked like a pedal bicycle to me, but he's at a gas station. He's at a 76.
That's an e-bike, man. He's on an e-bike.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
And he's faking then pumping gas in this costume with not much else on. He's got his Thor helmet on.
Right. What about? I mean, his shoes, man. I mean, he's he's grinding. I mean, he's just the guy's a nut, man. But he takes off. He's flying, and if you haven't seen it, like he said, we'll make sure we have this. Are we playing it? Are you playing it now for our fans? Is that what's going on now? Or okay. So, I'm watching it right now, and what I find interesting about this guy, he has got every imaginable toy in his backyard. He's got a pool. He's got a skateboard ramp. He's got a trampoline. That's some things that I'm noticing. Jack is having fun, dude. I love it. Love it. Ooh, what is that bike name? Oh, yeah. Kane built. Huh, interesting. I've seen that before, man. Let's see. What does that get me? It's just, I don't know what that is. Oh, aftermarket parts for Super 73 motorbikes by Kane Built. Okay, so Kane Built apparently is someone who supplies.
Is it a gas assist? It does look like it has a gas tank on the top of it now that I look at the picture. I mean,
I don't think it is, man. It's a Super 73 bike is what it is.
Okay. It's
whatever
cool.
That is.
It's cool. It's got big fat tires.
It's
anyway,
very cool.
All right. So Jack Black, acting crazy, highlight of your day, great video. We'll put a link to it on our website. We'll probably tweet it out too.
Yeah.
Check us out on Twitter at The Counter Show and look for that. And I will mention, Jay,
Absolutely.
here, my QuickTime just crashed. So I'm going to hit record again here.
Okay.
And just you keep rolling. I will.
All right.
I will figure this out.
So we're going
in
to
post, as they say. No, well, hang on before you jump into the next. All right, I'm going to keep an eye on this, but I think we're rolling again. So you were about to say,
yeah. So what do we want to get into next? We want to talk a little bit about Starlink.
Dealer's choice, Jay. If you want to do that, it's fine with me.
Let's talk Starlink.
Okay. So
I love that.
So this is Elon Musk's internet company.
Yes.
Internet service provider, I guess, ISP. And they're working on, I wasn't kidding in the opener when we said internet from space, satellite streamed internet. Now, you do have to have a dish. And they have opened the public beta. They have expanded it a little bit. And it looks like you can pre-order for $99, and it's fully refundable, according to the quote Starlink gives out. And I'm looking at the article on CNBC, but I'm about to pull up Starlink's website here, and we're going to do a pre-order on the show.
So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself. And all right, so let me give you while Keith's working on that in the background there. Let me let's talk about this. Okay, so we know who Elon is. He's Tesla, SpaceX. So he's had a lot of launches, not just for NASA, not just to get up to the space station, but they've been putting up these little satellites, man. It's like a grid of low-orbit satellites that is supposed to improve and reach, rural areas, people who don't have access to good internet. The thing is that in this day and time, people like that should have. Our infrastructure isn't as such that would allow us to reach them, say, through a cable, and sometimes even in phone lines. So this is like the answer to it, and it go figure that it would be Elon to do this. If you go to their website, which Keith is on now, if you'll scroll down.
Oh, you want me to scroll down?
Yeah, you want to scroll down, or can you scroll down, or no?
Yeah, I can scroll. There it is.
So take a look at...
I probably need to hit record if we're going to share this before we do any of that, though, which the record button has disappeared on me.
Okay, well, don't worry about it. But anyway, if you go to the SpaceX, the Starlink.com website, there's a house there. You have to scroll down from the main page. There's a house there that's right on an island in the middle of like nowhere, which actually the house happens to be not very far from me. So we were excited because for a couple things here, where my community where we live, not only are they started beta testing here, and now you can order it.
That looks like a lagoon, Jay. Is that it?
Yeah, that's not it. No, it was.
Well, wait a second. So if you're telling people if they figure out where this is, then we can figure out where you live, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so I think they might know that anyway.
I think they may have updated it.
It's in the Pacific Northwest, and we also are one of the first cities in the Pacific Northwest, and maybe on the West Coast to have city fiber. And when I say that, I don't mean fiber itself, but how they are distributing it and the technology or the method in which they're doing it, which they're going in through existing water lines or drain lines and running this fiber.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's underground, and you already have the passage to get in. So we'll get into a story later about how that happened, but. So Keith is very interested in this product, the Starlink product. So am I. I would say most everyone is. Keith's going to go ahead and try to register for this and get it explain to him why, Keith.
Right.
I think it's very important that people understand this. So
because it's satellite based, it is not location specific in terms of is my understanding. If you think about how satellite radio works, for those of you that have satellite radio, you don't have the limitations that you would typically have from terrestrial radio, where you can drive across the country and never change the station on, like, say, Sirius XM. Well,
that's right.
The same concept should be true then with their internet service, provided that you can point the dish to, as you move to the correct, satellite. But as an RVer and someone that does travel out and boondock a lot, but also needs internet for things like this show, this is something I am very interested in because I am no longer required to be tethered to a nearby city to get, high-speed, fast broadband, right?
Right. Yeah, this is awesome. This is an answer for our road shows.
Yeah.
Keith and I have been discussing this for quite a while, and as soon as we kind of get back to some sort of normalcy where we can connect and get out there, I think that we're going to go ahead and start doing some road shows. Go give you more broader information and subject matter to talk about on our show, and also to get you over to our YouTube channel, and hopefully you'll enjoy the content we have there. Which, by the way, speaking of our YouTube channel, go to youtube.com. For any of these videos that we're going to post up on our YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/Parks County Gurus. Please subscribe, tell a friend, give us a thumbs up, and ring that bell, and be prepared for when we put episodes and good stuff like this out. So,
all right. So I've got the site up, and now it does ask for a service address.
Okay.
All right. So I've got that info in. I've got my email address in.
I see.
I'm going to click on order now.
All right.
And we're going to go over to where are they taking us? Okay. So Starlink is targeting coverage in your area in a future rollout. Availability is limited. Orders will be fulfilled on a first come, first served basis. You will receive a notification once your Starlink is ready to ship. Okay, so hardware service, it just says calculating. Okay, so please enter. Okay, so it looks like I've got to enter like a valid shipping address and all that. So let me give them my info here.
Yeah, so, and while you're doing that, that's interesting. I wonder if, this is very helpful to Mr. Musk. This'll the old IPO, yeah, huh? Do you get money in advance?
He said once they can estimate the costs, they would then go forward with the IPO. So yes.
Yeah, let's see here. SpaceX begins accepting $99 pre-orders for Starlink satellite internet service, says Musk eyes IPO. Let me give you a little rundown on some of this as Keith is going there. So Elon SpaceX has widened the scope of the public beta test of its Starlink satellite internet services, saying it is accepting the pre-orders from potential customers. Keith being one of those today. Prospective Starlink users can enter a service address on the company's website with pre-orders available for $99. Some regions show pre-order messages that say SpaceX is targeting coverage in your area in mid to late 2021, while other pre-orders say 2022. The service will be offered in the U.S. first, and then roll out to Canada and then the UK. The website does emphasize that pre-orders are fully refundable, but notes in the fine print that placing a deposit does not guarantee service. SpaceX also says that orders may take 6 months or more to fulfill, depending on where users are located. All right.
So the website's puking on me. I'm going to try one more time here.
So
now, I'm on Safari on a Mac, and that could be part of the problem. But let's just try one more time. Yeah. I may have to switch to Chrome and see if we can make it work with that. It just is not happy with my home address.
Interesting. So, for those of you that these are low orbit satellites, by the way, that we were speaking of, SpaceX began putting these things up, a couple years ago, was it?
Yep.
And it's a pretty ambitious project to do this, and it's known in the space industry as all of these satellites are known as a constellation. It's designed to deliver high-speed internet to consumer anywhere on the planet. The FCC 2 years ago approved SpaceX to launch 11,943 satellites. Boy, I bet NASA's loving that, right?
Yeah.
The company, which hopes to deploy 4,425 satellites in orbit by 2024, has launched more than 1,000 satellites to date, and it plans to build and deploy even more advanced versions of its satellites.
So wow. I'm going to try this again on Chrome. I'm going to try it one more time here. And we're gonna.
So and it will. I'm going to continue to give our fans some more information on it. SpaceX disclosed in an FCC filing last week that Starlink has over 10,000 users in the U.S. and abroad at the moment. In about 3 months is all it took for that to happen, and that was when the beta testing started. So SpaceX's chief executive repeated previous statements that the company plans to spin off Starlink and take it public. For those of you interested in that, setting a goal for when the service would be ready for an initial public offering. I think it's going to be a hit, man.
I think so.
I mean, think about all of these families that, are maybe out of work because of the COVID.
Well, look at RV sales. Look at how
exactly.
everybody is traveling, right?
Right, and so this is like so much more encouragement for the end user to get out and go do these things. Example, Keith. All right, so if you work remotely, your wife works remotely, and your child is schooling remotely, doesn't this kind of make sense to like go off the so-called grid? Yep. And then link up to a satellite, man, and have the ability to be able to work from anywhere in the country?
Yeah, now you're probably going to have to mount this dish outdoors, so that is something to think about, like in your situation, Jay, and some of your HOA requirements don't allow that. But, as an RVer, I can just set it right outside on the ground, and, but it looks like their website is puking, so I tried now from both Chrome and Safari, and it's not like in... so it finds my address in the auto lookup, and then when I go to the next page and I try to complete the order process, it pukes because it can't match up the shipping details.
You know what I bet is going on with that? This is just my gut instinct.
Yep, go ahead.
Is that they were building this site ready to take orders, and then they saw the reveal of the Cybertruck and him breaking the non-breakable glass, and dropped everything and said, "Oh, let's go fix the glass first, and then we'll get back to the website." That's probably what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you like that? Yeah.
All right. So it says, "Can't find your address. Try a plus code with city." Okay. Well, what's a plus code with city? Find and share using plus codes. Okay, that's really more than I want to get into during a podcast. So
all right, so we'll get it figured out, and we'll keep you updated on how well that works.
Yeah, right now looks like their website's it's probably getting hammered, which goes back to your point, Jay, of it's going to be popular.
Yep, I think so as well.
All right, so should we move on? Should we just stay in the space theme? Is that?
I think so, man.
Okay.
Yeah. You go ahead.
So who doesn't love a good conspiracy theory or an X-Files type space aliens conspiracy? But the reason that I jumped on this one is because it had a little bit more street cred, if you will, than your typical run-of-the-mill Aliens Among Us conspiracy.
We on a previous podcast, Keith.
Yeah, now look,
That's
you
our
guys,
conspiracy podcast.
Before you all go nuts going on about how these guys don't know jack about aliens in space. Well, duh. It's the counter show. This is done in jest. We're having a good time here. All right.
We're just as curious as the rest of the people out there, man, and we find it to be good conversation. So back to aliens are real. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this guy, Harvard astronomer, argues that an alien vessel paid us a visit. Now, this is phys.org. This is a physics website. Okay, this is not like Area 51 alienencounters.com, right? This is highly educated individuals,
right?
Presenting.
They're working on Occam's razor standards, man. So
there's a guy. that just released a book. His name is Avi Loeb, and he says that
now wait a minute now.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's Loeb? It could be Loeb.
Oh, it could be.
Do you remember Lisa Loeb?
That was Loeb. She went by Lisa Loeb, didn't she?
Okay. All right. I've had this argument with many people in many bars, and I always lose.
But anyway.
Okay.
I don't know. Lisa Loeb, I think it was. Now I can't. I'm not going to be able to let that go. Okay.
What's the name of that song?
I can't. It's left me. The fact that you actually know it. What is it?
She said, "The only one in it." Right? Remember that? Now you have that in your head for the rest of the day, and all you too, listeners.
All right. So this guy's got a book out, and he's convinced his peers in the scientific community that it's extremely possible. So some of his credentials: he was the longest serving chair of astronomy at Harvard. Okay, so again, not necessarily the crackpot you would expect, right, from stuff like this. Okay,
right.
He's published hundreds of papers.
I believe, man.
He's collaborated with greats, including Stephen Hawking. Okay.
Yes.
So you can't. So just dismissing this as another crackpot theory, maybe not as easy as your usual.
Well,
okay.
The interesting thing that I found about this, Keith, was the fact that everybody was caught by so much surprise after. It was we as a planet. Everybody is keeping their eye out for things coming our way. They didn't really kind of catch the momentum of this thing until after it was going out of our galaxy. And so this is what makes this even more interesting.
Yes. So here are the facts that he's laid out. Now, this is a Oumuamua, which we podcasted about on this program, what, Jay, like a year ago?
No, it wasn't that long ago, man. It was about 7 months ago, yes.
All right. So
I hate to say I told you so.
All right,
hey, man.
So here's the facts, okay? By the way, Oumuamua means scout in Hawaiian.
That's right.
And in October 2017, astronomers observed an object moving so quickly it could only have come from another star. This is the first recorded interstellar interloper, okay? It didn't seem to be an ordinary rock because after slingshotting around the sun, it sped up and deviated from the expected trajectory propelled by a mysterious force. Okay? This could easily be explained if it were a comet expelling gas and debris, but there were no visible evidence of this outgassing. So, like a comet trail or tail. We talked about that on this show. The traveler also tumbled in a strange way, as inferred by how it got brighter and dimmer in scientists' telescopes, and it was unusually luminous, possibly suggesting it was made from bright metal. All right?
Right.
So these guys now, it doesn't fit any previously known explanations. It's not a comet because it's not expelling gas like it would when it comes close to a star. Okay? It's not. It's weird trajectory and the tumbling effect, I think, is what what really threw people off. Oumuamua was never photographed close up during its brief sojourn. We only learned of its existence once it was already on its way out of our solar system. Well, that's curious, don't you think?
Right.
I mean, how did you miss that? It flies right past you and it's tumbling over and over, and nobody notices it in our solar system?
Because it's an odd, intelligent form of craft.
What was the Romulan cloaking device that they used on Star Trek, right?
That's it, man. Yeah.
So they started to run simulations, and they're trying to figure out from that what it could be, right? There are two shapes that fit the peculiarities observed: long and thin like a cigar, or flat and round like a pancake, almost razor thin. Loeb says simulations favor the latter, and believe the object was deliberately crafted as a light sail propelled by stellar radiation.
Right.
So made by another organic being, I guess, right?
Yeah, an intelligent life form of some sort out there discovering, what's out there. Just like we do. We send stuff out, orbiters, or ships or things that just go way out there.
So he said, before encountering our sun, Oumuamua was at rest relative to nearby stars, statistically very rare. Okay? Rather than think of it as a vessel hurtling through space, from the object's perspective, our solar system slammed into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then Loeb goes on to say, perhaps Oumuamua was likely a buoy resting in the expanse of the universe. So think of it like a tripwire left by an intelligent life form waiting to be triggered by a star system as it passes through.
Yeah. That's
So there
awesome,
you go.
dude. Man, I hope it's hope they can get some more information on, but it's gone. I don't know if can we like send Elon out after this thing? Or
Well,
does he
he's
have
got his
something?
Starman car out there. I don't know if they can change directions or not, but yeah, maybe not.
Put it in reverse and go catch up with this thing. So
Yeah.
that's quite interesting, man. So where do we want to go now? We've got. I mean, we're just so much. We're full of just stuff. We got stuff to talk about.
Well, we probably need to get on this Nissan thing.
Let's do that.
And
Let's talk Nissan.
Because that's a subject near and actually this just occurred to me right now in real time. Both of these vehicles that we're talking about, I've owned
Exactly.
previous generations.
Yes. So we're excited to announce that it was spotted in Tokyo, and there's been a lot of speculation around the drivetrain on these things, what to be expected, and a lot of speculation. Nissan took it a step further where the Proto was actually it was a running production type vehicle when they revealed it, which is not always common. But this thing it looked like it was pretty much just ready to be rolled out to a showroom floor somewhere when they revealed it initially. So there's been a lot of speculation out there on how they would power this thing. They revealed manual transmission would be coming, that there would be some automatic transmissions. I think there's going to be some availability of that. And they were not really going like super, super high tech, but they were going to give you some tech on it. But what's exciting, man, is that, and it makes sense, there was a guy that was in Tokyo at a location where they typically put out their new vehicles on display, and the Nissan Z Proto was there, and somebody just happened to take a picture of the vehicle when the hood was up, and close up, it looks like it will be the 4.0, the 400 Red Sport Series. Excuse me, not 4.0, but the 400 Red Sport Series engine. And by the photos and the positioning of certain things, they kind of came up with that. It says while the engine cover on the Z Proto was different than the one shrouding in the Infiniti Q50 and Q60 400 Red Sport, there are other clues that point to the VR30 twin turbo.
Yeah, so this is an engine used by Infiniti in several of their models. We speculated heavily that this is going to be the one that they were going to go with.
Yeah, there would be a 400 horsepower version of it.
It's really looking more and more like it will be a 400Z in model name.
Yep.
This is a twin turbo V6. So previous generations did not have that. Well, first of all, they didn't have that displacement, but they weren't turbocharged. This would be...
That's right. This will be a twin turbo. Yeah, that's right.
So interestingly enough, though, they're saying, hey, everybody, remember these are still prototypes we're looking at, so they could change the engine. Yeah, but it doesn't really make sense. I mean, Nissan themselves have commented that this thing's pretty close to production. I mean, it's very close to production model. You don't change out an engine when you make a statement like that.
No, you don't. And what makes sense too is that they already have the platform, the engine platform from a production standpoint, which completely makes sense. And why do you want to change?
That stuff happens all the time.
All the time.
Yep.
And you don't want to change things up. And again, and I go back to the images that were taken. Radiator hoses were in the same location. Just all of those clues gave way to the fact that they're using basically the same platform. It makes sense. You don't, you put an engine in something. You don't go messing around with things if you don't have to. You're setting yourself up for failure from, it could be a cooling situation because you've moved something from one location to another, without the engineering behind it. But we'll see. It's interesting.
Now, I want to point to something else here before we move on from this. Now, this is the same engine that's right now used in the Infiniti Q50 and the Q60, okay?
That's correct, yes.
Now, this is almost a Toyota move. Toyota's kind of known to do this. That engine is known to be underrated in terms of its output capabilities. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I just mentioned Toyota. The Asian manufacturers in general sometimes do, and the best explanation I can give for it is they get more engine longevity out of these things if you don't push them as hard on the top end as they can go. And it's almost the faster they fly, the faster they die, or the hotter they fry, the faster they, right? Like, so
right.
They're trying to hold it back a little bit. The reason that I bring that up is because, we already know what that engine's capable of. We know horsepower output on that engine, for example. But keep in mind, it's possible that they could open this thing up a little more and allow for more horsepower out of the version that goes in the Z.
Just boils down to tuning, man. And
right.
They've got, this engine has a history of the relationship with tuners because people want more out of it. So that's happening in the aftermarket already. These professional tuners out there, just so. Here's what makes sense to me with that, and I had this conversation with someone recently about it. Shared the information. He goes, "Oh wow, man! Now it's going to be hard. I mean, this thing's going to be priced over the top. It's probably going to be a $60,000 car.
But why? It's an existing engine,
right?
They didn't have to R&D it.
That's right.
For a new model.
To my point, was that I don't think that that's going to be the case. You've already got an engine platform that's in production. You're shaving cost already by doing that.
And
You're not reinventing the wheel.
In a situation where they do need to shave costs. Now, what I can see realistically happening is that the Q60 gets a new engine a year or two from now. I
didn't even think about that. That is a good point, Keith. That makes a lot of sense. And then that could be the precursor to maybe another.
That's your premium vehicle. People are going to expect to pay more for that one than they would, for example, the Z in some cases.
Right. Yep.
So you absorb the expense of dropping a new engine into a new model on your luxury brand.
That's exactly right, man. It makes so much sense. And in that same breath, I said, nah, just remember when the C8 Corvette was in the mix, and they were just about to reveal it. There was no pricing available to everyone. We all thought that there's no way that GM could be competitive with this thing, but yet they ended up, you can get one starting at $60,000. We thought this thing was going to be $100,000 ride, man. And it can get there.
Yeah, but that's GM
different.
Yeah, they do crate engines. That's an engine arguably, GM has more experience in building high output engines than Nissan.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I see your point.
But historically, the Corvette has been an extremely expensive vehicle. And then you would expect nothing less from a new generation C8 with a mid-engine in it, man.
Well,
so it was surprising. I think it shocked a lot of people that they were able to put that thing out there. But trust me, nobody's buying the $60,000 C8.
That's right. That's so first of all, you realistically, when you spec it out, by the time you're done getting what you want on it, it isn't 65.
Right.
The other thing is, and we've commented many times, almost to a fault, you can't get those things. Well, maybe that was the whole play, right? Price them really cheap where you're losing money, and then just don't have any available to sell.
Right.
Right?
Man. Exactly.
Well played, GM.
Right.
Let's make it so cheap it's unbelievable, and then we'll just make it so you can't buy one, then we don't have to lose any money.
Exactly. We'll just put all your deposits in the bank, and we'll go over here and we'll buy Nikola. So on the same subject of Nissan, let's kind of move along here. There's a lot of Nissan news going on, and Keith and I are very excited. We love Nissan. Yep. They're in Nissan North America is in your backyard, but they revealed the new Nissan Frontier, and I think honestly, man, that they've hit this out of the park with this thing.
Yeah,
this is the first redesign of the Nissan Frontier in 17 years.
Yeah,
man.
So I want to talk a little bit about this.
Yes, let's go.
So again, for those of you just joining us on this segment, we were just talking about the Z. And it just occurred to me as we're recording this that I've been a previous owner of both the Frontier and the Z in that order. Now, I had the supercharged Frontier. It was like less than 3% of their production comprised this.
It was a Nismo package on that, right? On the Frontier, wasn't it?
I believe so. I mean, it was so rare. It was so rare.
Yeah, I remembered it, man. Supercharged, yeah.
I had to elicit the help of some of my fellow Nissan employees to just get, okay, so that was, I'm going to get his name wrong. It was Jerry, was it Hirschbrenner? He was one of the Nissan chiefs, and he was on his way out. He was retiring, and that was kind of the last design that he was involved with. Now, that Frontier was modeled after a boxing glove. It just screamed testosterone, okay?
Yeah.
Then they came along with the redesign, and honestly, it just looked like Little Truck. Like, well, they should have just named it like Little Contractor Truck 2.0 or whatever.
Yeah.
There was nothing, in my opinion, and I realize we're going to get some, hey, we welcome your letters, okay? PartsCounterGuru.com, ask us a question. But it just wasn't impressive to me in its appearance. It just looked like, hey, if you want a new truck but you can't afford a full-size one and you're a contractor, maybe take a look at this thing over here. I mean, it wasn't a truck lover's truck.
Right.
To me. Okay? No. Now, this looks more like the Tacoma crowd. This looks more like they're going after an off-road crowd.
They're competing with the Tacomas and the Chevrolet Colorados, those mid-size pickup trucks. And I think that Nissan's done it right. I think they've hit it out of the park here. And I like Tacomas, Toyota Tacomas as well. I've owned Toyota Tacoma, like pre-2000 Tacoma. My wife and I owned a Nissan D21 hardbody before they became, the Frontiers. And I can tell you, during that time frame, both of those trucks, from the late 80s through the 90s, they were really, really formidable vehicles, and they were pretty tough vehicles. They were built right. I loved them. And then somewhere down the road, they kind of weakened up a little bit, and that's one reason why we've been hanging on, not buying a new truck. But after seeing this new Frontier, especially that FX4 package, it looks like to me that it may take the lead in that category.
Yeah, so I'm looking at their video here, yeah, I mean they're basically just giving you a walk around.
To me, it's got a lot of the features on it. If you look at it, it looks kind of almost like they've taken away from the Titan.
Okay, this is exactly, I was holding back on this because as I look at it, I am like, this is design elements of the Titan. It just looks like a mini Titan.
It does.
It's real boxy and testosterone-y. And
well, again, if you go back, I mean, they knew what they had in the D21 hardbody also, because that was one of those trucks. It was just the same way. It was boxy. It looked beefy. It's like it had some muscle behind it. And so I kind of, if you look at this thing, it really looks good. They're saying they're going to have a standard 3.8 liter V6 in it. It was introduced last year, so that kind of helps the price tag, I think, a little bit. Says they're offering class-leading power and more than enough to low-end torque. The V6 should be a good option for the buyers. It's got a 9-speed automatic transmission. Does a great job of selecting the right gear for the job.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's really towing anything with these. I mean, you could tow like a small boat or, but you're not towing RVs with them, and that's not the people they're appealing to here.
No, they're not, but I still think that it's formidable. Here you go. And the payload, the maximum payload and those sorts of things. Here's a list. Like the Frontier, it's really below its competitors, if they're true competitors. And maximum towing is 6,720 pounds, whereas the Colorado is 7,000. The Ranger is 7,500. Obviously, the GMC Canyon, which is the same thing as the Colorado, but it's not that far off the mark from the Tacoma. So
yeah,
There you go. And so they're competing in that Asian market, but or the Asian brands. They're right there, and that's who they're really competing against is probably Toyota, and I would say Ford is who they're really targeting there, and they have to, because the Ford Ranger, their little that's a scalded dog is what we always.
I like that. Yeah. Now I will tell you, like, if I just
runs
from
like
the
crazy,
looks,
it's a screamer
from the looks and what stats you've thrown out just now to me, which is the first I've heard any of those specs. I would consider the Frontier over a Ranger. I personally would.
Oh, I know I would. I would.
Yeah, I'd go 4-wheel drive version. I'd overland it. But I'm just saying, if I were in that class, if I were shopping now, if you could get that thing in a supercharger like they used to do, it would be no question. Or turbo, but I don't see them putting turbo on a truck.
They're going to be offered in an S, SV, and a Pro X, as well as
that's the same package
as well as a Pro 4X. 2 cab styles and 2 bed links. That's pretty awesome. So they're smart to give it a wide range of offering for people depending on what your needs are. Now, I will say this, that based on if you're buying this, guys, and Keith and I harp on this all the time, if you're buying this for gas mileage, just go on down to GM and go buy a Chevy Bolt. I mean, you don't want to buy this truck because it's not going to get great gas mileage. That's not what it's designed for.
I
mean, come on.
Now, you want to talk? You want to talk a little bit about the Pathfinder?
Yeah. So I don't know that much about it. I just know that it was revealed recently as well.
Sorry. As I click on these videos, you hear my sound. And then I quickly mash the mute button. But yeah.
But go ahead. I looked at it. It's a redesign. The body looks great. I love the exterior, the way it looks, and it's a little bit more luxurious. And it's still going to have it'll have a 9-speed 3.5 liter, the VQ35DE in it is what they're going to continue to put in this thing. It's manufactured and assembled in Smyrna, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I started looking at the sales for the Pathfinder, and I see why they did what they did. Now, if you look at the sales, they went from around 80,000 units in the U.S. In 2017 to almost half of that in 2020.
Yeah.
And they lost a big share of that market.
Here's what's going on
the SUV side.
And part of this is the changing consumer demand. But do you remember, Jay? I remember when the Pathfinder first rolled out here in the United States. And I don't have the exact year, but I was a kid. I don't think I was of driving age yet. Can you while I'm yammering on here, can you look that up real quick?
Yeah, 85 is when it came out first, and they based it off of the D21.
All right. So
pickup.
Competition for the 4Runner at that time, off-road vehicle, Pathfinder, okay?
Right.
But that sort of got watered down over the years. It became more and more of a station wagon. Now we have this huge demand for crossovers, okay?
That's right.
You got the Mach-E on the electric side. You've got everybody and their brother doing a crossover. Subaru's got some solid offerings that have been around for a while. Tesla's got their electric stuff now in the crossover category that's nice. GM's doing some cool crossover stuff. And then if you want to go on the electric side, they've got the Cadillac Lyriq coming out, which we know Will Ferrell loves, right? But but the Pathfinder kind of doesn't have a path, so to speak. I mean, Nissan's got the Rogue, right? That's more of a crossover.
Right.
They brought back the Kicks, which is kind of
the
Juke,
they had
then the Kick,
Juke,
which is their little, yeah. Now, we owned a Juke. My wife did. That was a nice all-wheel drive, small,
Interesting ride. Very roomy.
Where does this fit? See, that's the thing. I look at this and I'm like, well, this is more of a Bronco Sport competitor.
Yeah.
Right? I mean...
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's a good analogy. I mean, or not. That's a good observance, I should say. Not an analogy, but it's a good observance, and I agree with you because
it's too big to sell to the crossover crowd.
I think that you may be onto something there because if they're going to compete against those guys, they got to have the product to do it with. And so, if you focus on a redesign, Everybody's going with this dial up, these goat modes, which Ford is the goat modes.
But see, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to do that in a car, okay, so again, Pathfinder originally designed to be
off-road,
a solid off-road vehicle.
Yeah, yep.
So you're going to go back into those waters. You need to be able to go head-to-head with the 4Runner. This thing does not look like it knows where it should belong. It kind of has elements of a crossover,
right?
But it looks more, but it's bigger than a crossover. And so, remember what happened to the Chevy Blazer that they brought back? We looked at that thing and we went, same thing, right? Like, what is this?
Right.
Not like the original Blazer.
So now we can say it's a Nissan Pathfinder.
Right. I mean, this kind of looks like it's just a Blazer, Nissan's version of the Blazer. I just
really
don't know. Now, I know they've got the Armada. Yeah, you guys are going to point that out. That's their big one, whatever. But, man, I just think they would have been smart to go after the 4Runner, compete with that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean,
I'm not running Nissan. There's probably a reason for that.
Well, Nissan, we broke.
Actually, nobody's running Nissan, right? I mean, but I digress, right?
Yeah. He ran out of town. Anyway, yeah. So Nissan came up with the their Nissan Next. They basically reintroduced introduced a new logo, and which is like this lava red logo, which they're using for accents. You'll see that on all their new models, and including on the last two that we just mentioned. Well, I don't know about the Proto, but we'll see.
Yeah.
See how that.
But that's just marketing nonsense.
Right,
it's like Sky Active that Mazda did.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're the point I'm trying to make is that we felt like, and we've heard this from a lot of Nissan fans, is that they really need to do something. How are they going to compete? And so they
playing
bring
it
back,
safe. Is playing it safe the smart move? I understand if you go all in and you put everything you have on the table, you could lose a lot more. I just think that they're in a corner already.
You take a look at what their flagships are. Obviously from the performance side, the Z it's a no-brainer to me to bring that out and do it right. But you've got the Maxima, you had the Altima,
which
you've got
were quite respectable before sedans started going the way of the Dodo. I just now what, right? Now what?
Right. Now you've got a whole new lineup of different vehicles to choose from. You've got the SUV covered, you've got the truck covered, and you've got the sports car covered.
That crossover market is huge, and they're not really.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll find our way into one of those, especially you locally.
And don't get me wrong. I'm a Nissan fan. We would not have owned as many Nissans as we have. Yeah. Would I not have believed in the product? I'm just concerned when I see now the Frontier. I think right direction, 100%.
Yeah,
just not so sure about this Pathfinder. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong.
And
I'll go.
We're still a little skeptical on the Z even.
Put us in a Pathfinder Nissan, and I will give it a fair chance and let me kick the tires.
Yes.
And you change my mind.
Yeah, and you know what, man? I've told you this before. My cousin, John, he's out shopping for trucks. He's looked at Rams. He's looked at GMs. He really liked the Ford Ranger. But then he texted me and he's like, man, he goes, I think I'm going to have to wait for this baby to hit the floor to be able to test drive this thing. And he's pretty excited about it. He's a big Nissan fan too. So he's holding out. He's going to wait to see what this does. And honestly, I think he's picked a winner here. But you got to get in it, drive it. You got to figure it all out first. So hopefully it won't be too much plastic and a lot of solid stuff in the interior, and it's done correctly. It's ergonomically feels right and all, and it's useful. Because I've seen some of these guys just load these things up with so much crap you don't need. So we'll see. It remains to be seen. So there you go, man. Nissan on the move again, and we're excited for them. So what's next, Nissan?
I see what you did there. So let's get into your good karma, Jay.
Yeah.
Do you want to set this story up?
I do.
I mean,
So
it's your experience. It doesn't really make sense for me to tell the story, right?
yeah, and I won't. I'm not going to take too much of our audience's time, and we're going to get right to the point here. But you hear Keith and I all the time talk about cutting edge technology, and Keith likes to throw out there, I ain't computer literate. People afraid to change. But just a quick build up into where we're going with this. I own a Mini Cooper. Many of you know that. It's a 2014 F56. It's a hardtop, two-door, twin-scroll turbo. Anyway, it's a great car. I love it. It's only ever been to the dealership, and it was time for a new battery. I was going to put the battery in myself. I could have done it. But you dig a little deeper and you find out how smart these vehicles are, and they truly are. They're loaded with so much technology. You have to be careful and pay attention. So while the battery was easy to install, it wasn't cheap. It's a couple of $100, but they have to reprogram this thing. They have to download software updates.
That's a common BMW. That's a common German.
That's right.
Tactic. That's just the way they do it.
Yeah, so for me, it was my first experience. I with this type of situation, but I'm a smart guy. I pay attention, and I understand, that yes, I could take it down to a shop that might have a scanner tool, but they're not doing that every day. These guys are, so why not do it right? Yes, it's going to cost me a little bit more money. I'm okay with that. Plus, you got warranty and those sorts of things. So, anyway, I take it down. My Mini dealership is Seattle Mini. It's just north, outside of the outskirts of the metropolitan Seattle. And my service advisor, Brandon, great guy. We set the appointment up online. Told him what I needed. I get in there at 8 o'clock, and of course, so these dealerships, the ones that really care about you, man, they got coffee.
Oh wait, please tell me, tell me,
yes,
that you went in the lobby while your vehicle was being serviced, and you had. You had small coffee and mini donuts. Come on!
Actually, no mini donuts,
really?
Man.
They have to have something little.
They don't, man. Well, they had little nutrition bars.
Shredded mini wheats?
They may have.
All right.
They had little cups of coffee. There you go. So there you go, man. So yeah, but anyway, I actually had 2 espressos while I was there. It was really nice. So anyway, I get up and check in, and my wife and I love to walk around the lot. The building, and everybody's masked up. It's the social distancing. Their protocol is in place. So it was
Are you
no
doing
risk.
the Heisman when the sales guys come out? You're all like,
oh yeah, man, absolutely.
Hand on their forehead,
get
hold
away,
them back.
get away.
Yeah. Okay,
but everybody was masked up. It was a great experience. But I get this text from my service advisor, and I look at it, and there was a link. And so it says, click the link. So I click the link, and all of a sudden it's my technician just walking around my vehicle, filming particular items that need attention, letting me know how my tread depth was on my tires, suggesting me rotate the tires.
So he did a walk around.
It
was filmed with looked like a camera phone.
Filmed with it.
And
Yep.
he's pulling out the depth gauge. Well, actually, he may have already measured it. I noticed he was firing off. He's seen him enough. I think he could eyeball it. But
right.
He was showing you visuals of, hey, I'm checking the boots here. Everything looks good.
Right.
Looking at the Zerks or whatever. Zert or Zerk? Is it a T or Zert? Yep.
Yep.
And basically on camera, pointing to that stuff while your car's up on the lift, giving you a visual to see what the guy is talking about.
Exactly. And here's a couple of things with that. Why that is important, especially for someone like myself who I don't just get in my vehicle and drive it every day. I care about it, and I like to pay attention to those things. So being able to see the undercarriage of the vehicle itself, knowing there's no wet spots, no oil leaks.
Yeah.
Because those are the things, because you'll see it. If there's an oil leak, you're going to have the wet spots all up underneath the vehicle. So he took the time to just show you all the way under the vehicle, let you know what your brake pad thicknesses were, and he just made some suggestions on what to do. So that particular day, we ended up rotating the tires which made sense because I hadn't rotated the rears to the front in well over a year. So it made sense that the front tires had less tread than the rear, so we moved them to the front. And next time I'll get a new set of tires. But just letting me know that everything's okay, and here it is, man. It's on film. I was blown away.
Well, let me give you a contrasting. This is why I think you were blown away, as was I. Okay, so my wife has a Lexus. Mm-hmm. Okay, she treats it like a Yugo, but it's a Lexus. Okay,
right. Hey, by the way, speaking of Yugo, real quick before you get in that, do you know why they have rear window defrost on a Yugo?
Oh, here we go.
Do you know why?
No.
You keep your hands warm while you're pushing it.
All right. So
anyway, you can use that anytime you like.
Thank you. Yeah. So I have had on occasion on this program, I have shown the inspection report, the multi-point inspection, where they have checked off things that they said that they did.
Right.
Where I knew it was broken and they gave it a passing grade and never checked it. Okay. Right. And we've gone back to them and they've apologized. Well, if you're filming yourself checking it, there's no real margin for fudging that.
Right.
And, you might think, well, that's a one-time thing. Well, maybe it is, but, it's happened more than once to me. And I'll go a step further. I just had something happen last week that is a podcast for another day at Camping World, where I had them do some body work. I had a cargo door on my RV, and it was catching it's a piece of stripping. They called it a belt line. It's basically a piece of plastic. If you think about the older cars where they would have like a weather stripping or a door guard stripping, and it was going to tear that off, and it wasn't that way, but over time I think it had settled or shifted or the body moved a little bit, and so that was out of pocket that I paid these guys. Well, this was a 5-foot piece of plastic that weighed less than a pound. And I, get the estimate to do the work, and they, do the work, and then I show up and they tag $400 in freight onto it, and I'm like, what? And they were like, well, it's freight, and I'm like, well, no, it's not. And were we to have videoed what was being done, it would be very easy to go back and say, well, that wasn't done, or that's somebody else's stuff, or you're charging me for, So you have a situation here. Now, I know Mini's tied to BMW, so it is higher end. But you have a real high-end quality inspection service going on where they're willing to show you what they're doing.
Absolutely. And, I got that video and I went over and I talked to him and kind of firmed up what I wanted to do, the direction I wanted to go. And, of course, rotate the tires and thank you. And I wanted to talk to him about, I said, I've never had, this just makes so much sense. It's a no-brainer. And because I have been on that side of the fence where I'm the service writer. So to carry this further, about 5 minutes later, I'm standing outside in the receiving area where everybody brings their minis in and they drop it off. And one of the other service advisors are out there filming the exterior of the car before or right after the owner gets out and before they take it into the bay. And I said, so you're filming that for the purpose of claim damage after you give it back? She says, that's right. I said, well, that is the smartest thing that anybody could do. And I said to her, I said, you know why? Because I'm the guy, when I get my car back, I'm going over it with a fine-tooth comb to see where if there's any scratches there.
A situation recently where I had my tires rotated on my FJ. It has TRD wheels on it. The guy that did the rotation looks like the impact wrench got away from him, and he right across the TRD wheels, and he jacked up my wheel, and I went back out there and looked at it, and I went right back in, and I said, it wasn't this way when I pulled it in. Now, I do understand they're doing it to protect themselves, so most of the time it's because people have dents, and then they go, you put that dent there. Well, fine. Then the way to solve that is to document it when it comes in. And
it's like a rental car.
That's fair.
You go rent a car, you walk around and you go to the checklist and look for damage.
And you're more than welcome, if you're the renter of that car, to take a video of it when you leave. And if you see dents on it, as I smack the mic here, take pictures of them. That's all time stamped.
So I told Keith, Keith happened to call me, and I was telling him about this, and I said, I want to talk about it because, okay, so there is absolutely zero excuse for any service center other than the fact that you just don't have any capital to spend on it. But trust me, the returns from that.
Well, let's play this out for a second. The big argument is going to be from a service center. Mm-hmm. There's a pretty significant cost that goes into this. It's probably a service that they pay for on a regular basis, whether it's monthly or yearly or whatever.
Right.
And they're going to say, yeah, that's a big investment for us, and it's an expense.
Right.
To that, I would say, Jay, when you went in that dealership, did you plan on having everything done that you ended up having done?
Exactly.
Did you?
That's exactly right. No,
did
I didn't.
You plan on having your tires rotated when you got there?
I did not.
You saw the video. The guy showed you the difference between the front and the rear in terms of tread depth, and you went, yeah, okay. So this is an opportunity for the service centers, which is really what they're all trying to do, is to get more, to raise that ticket sale, right?
Right. Look, somebody is going to get that money to service that he pointed out, the rotation of the tires.
Either now or
later.
From now or
it's up on a rack. It's in the service center. The guy's got he's got an impact wrench ready to go. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So just get it done. The cost is, really insignificant. I mean, you guys know how much a rotation of tires costs. It's not that bad. But I'm a person that cares about my vehicle and the upkeep of it, and the maintenance, the periodic maintenance on a vehicle it's a no-brainer. So again, a couple of things here. If you are a service center, if you are and that's all you do, even if you're just not even a dealership, you should get into this. And here's why, because I had this happen to me recently on another vehicle where I got the vehicle back and there was this huge ding and scratch on the liftgate. Okay? Well, they didn't deny it, but they're like, well, we don't know how that happened.
Well, yeah.
Well, neither do I, but here's what I can tell you. It wasn't there when it went in. So now how are you going to...
Well, and it must not be real.
Exactly. So for you guys out there, it is a no-brainer. Technology is at your fingertips all the time. If you can use a smartphone, you can absolutely 100% do this.
Knock your headphones off. So, and see, look at that. I'm the one over here getting animated, and Jay's pulling cords out.
I'm pulling cords out. I need to get that figured out. But it's a great way to put value on your customer as well. And that's the thing. That's important to me.
I want to learn more about this platform, which I think is called Kaarma.
It is called My Kaarma, and it's MY. Yep.
These guys, this is an open invitation. You folks at Kaarma, reach out to us. Let's have a conversation. We want to learn more about your product, and I want to let's do something together. Let's figure this out, because this is
My Kaarma.
This is very fascinating. This is a good thing for a lot of reasons.
They do a lot of other things.
By the way, you can find us on partscounterguru.com. There's an Ask Us a Question tab. Drop us a note. Sorry, Jay, I digress.
No, that's fine. They do a lot of different things, but again, this is, look, here's, I'm on their website right now, and again, it's mykaarma.com, and that's MyKaarma, mykaarma.com. They are a software developer, I think, and then they integrate. And you're familiar with integration of services, Keith. On the medical side, and I've got someone in my family that is a software engineer developing software for the medical industry, where you integrate services and those sorts of things. But basically, they have it. It's called Video Walk Around Benefits. Eliminate old school pen and paper inspection check-in sheets. Right there, efficiency. Okay? Nothing lost in translation. You get it on spot. Inspections take 1 to 2 minutes on average, reducing service lane waits and increasing throughput by checking your customers in faster. Eliminate costly and time-consuming bogus damage claims with video proof of vehicle condition. There you go, right? Videos highlight common exterior damage. like scratches and dings and dents and stuff like that you're going to realize in some cases you didn't know it was there. And truthfully, you didn't know it was there. So therefore, it couldn't have been there. You had to have done it. But now I've got a video where I walked around your vehicle showing that scratch was there when you rolled in. That right there is wonderful for a number of reasons. But you can take up you can take pictures of the close-up defects and everything, man. This is why we want to talk to these guys, because we want these guys on our podcast so that we can have them explain to our audience and the rest of the world out there in the service industry how to improve your relationship with your customers.
Oh, I just want the good stories. I just want to know, like, tell us a couple times when this has worked really well, and there has to be some, great examples that's my angle.
I shared with you the video, Keith, and wasn't it high quality? It was a high quality. Now it was a web-based video.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we want these guys on. But I got to say, again, my whole experience, it's kind of like going to a restaurant, man, right? It's the whole thing, man. It's not about just the plate of food.
Right.
It's the whole thing, man.
Right.
The food could be great, but your server and their lack of ability to be able to make my night great ruins it for you. This is a way to improve the experience for your customer.
Yeah.
But it also is going to save you money, man. This is, again, if you guys are out there and you say that you're not computer literate, that this is above your head, wrong answer. Because these guys have the solution for you, man. I'm telling you.
Just get on your horse and ride back into your cave and, barbecue some Tyrannosaurus Rex and let me know how that works out for you.
Right.
I just
A big thank you.
I think I just crossed multiple Paleolithic eras there. I don't know. Anyway.
You did.
Yes.
Yeah. A big thank you to Seattle Mini for always taking care of me. My service advisor, Brandon, thank you so much, man. Appreciate your conversation with me and explaining to me how this works. So got to give those guys. So if you own a Mini and you live in the Pacific Northwest, the Western Washington, Seattle area, Seattle Mini is your go-to. So, and go see my guy Brandon over there. So anyway, thank you guys for that. Learn something new every day, don't we?
Usually.
Yeah, that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
So you want to take us out, or do you want me to give our social media stuff?
Give our stuff out, and I'll.
All right. So, hey, you can check us out on our podcasting platforms. We're on every major podcasting platform out there, and you can get to that by going to partscounterguru.com and select podcast links. If we mention anything on the podcast that you can purchase while you're there, you'll see a mention on the podcast tab as well. We have comment tabs. If you want to ask us a question, or if you want to leave a comment, you can do that there. You can also go shopping on Amazon by clicking that icon up in the upper right-hand corner. If you do that and you click on that and you go buy what you need, we get a little bit of love from that. We don't know what you're buying, we don't know who you are, but we get a little bit of love from it, and that helps us keep this show going. So we really appreciate that. From there, you can always navigate over to our YouTube channel as well. We are on youtube.com /Parts Counter Gurus. We have all these videos. We'll have video segments of this podcast there. We've got DIY videos, just informational videos for you out there. While you're there, subscribe. We need your subscription. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and like us, and then ring that bell so you'll be notified when new episodes come out. We're on social media. Hey, how about that, man? Facebook.com /Parts Counter Gurus. We're on Instagram.com /The Parts Counter Gurus. You can check us out over on Twitter. Our handle is @TheCounterShow, which is what you're listening to right now. That'll just about do it. Yeah, we're everywhere, man. We're all over. Yeah, so there you go. What else you got, man?
Thanks, Jay. That's going to do it for the show today. Thanks again to Race Salon.
Yeah, man.
You hear their music
guys
frequently in our stuff. Check them out. And, this is a theme with me. Y'all have heard me on this topic before, but I talk a lot about not waiting And all of us have things. We have dreams, we have goals, we have things that we want to accomplish. And then there's a list of reasons why we can't get to that today. And there's a list of reasons why it'll have to wait till tomorrow. And, maybe I can't do this, or that's just not, even though I would love to be, the world's greatest chef or whatever, maybe it's just, not in the cards.
Right.
And to that, I would say, everyone, if you're always waiting to live your life, you're going to die before it starts. Until next time, that is my podcast partner, Jay, over there. I'm Keith. Thanks again for watching, listening, clicking, like, and subscribe, and all that good stuff, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
Later, guys.